see that our app runs now. If you look at the console, you can actually see that we have the teacher printed on the screen. So you can see that here, teacher, right? So that's a proof that what we did actually worked. So if we do dot last, and let's rerun this. So you can see that we have instructor instead of the first one, which was teacher. So that's a proof that we have what we did is working. So let's go ahead then and display our UI, right? So our UI is supposed to accept something. We're going to go to here. So we should have, so how do we display this data now? We need to have, okay. We need to first of all update our widget class. So let's go there and add a field here. So this field is going to be final root stuff. So we're going to add it to the constructor. All right, so now we need to put this in this very information here. So let's add our staff widget. Sorry, what's that happening? So staff.role. Yeah, we need to remove the const here. All right. And also we need to map through this guy so that we can display what the list of children. So we're going to map staff dot group staff dot map. So now we're going to return a list style. A list style is going to have a title, text, and we're going to call this child. All right, let me just give it member. It's going to be member dot name. All right. So what we did here is to actually iterate through all the list. Sorry, we are iterating through the list of group staff, and then we are mapping it, and then we are returning this particular list style with the individual member name. All right. So just one more thing, we need to add a trailing icon. This icon is going to icons dot arrow. So we're looking for an arrow that looks to the right. Forgotten the name already. I keep scrolling. I think I found that. Yes, outlined. Okay, so we need to probably make this const. All right, let's format again. All right, so that's being done. We have been able to display the title and also be able to map through the list. All right, now let's now use this very individual in our list screen. So this is where we're going to be doing that. So how do we do that? First of all, we need to render a screen. All right, but before we render the screen, we need something else. We need we have our staff title already, so but we need something else that is going to hold. If you go back to our UI, you see that we have this particular designation that now has this, so we need a column up front for us to have that. So we need to add that to our UI. So let's wrap this. Let's wrap this with a column. And having done that, we need to first of all do a check. All right, before we can display this column. So I'm going to do that our staff that is not empty, all right, to now show the column. Else, if it's empty, you're just going to show, let's just show simple text. And maybe we could also this. So let's add a const keyword here. All right. So that's been done. We're going to continue in the next video to actually put our list and other information that we actually need on the screen. So do that. Let's try to wrap up our UI. You can see that the last stuff we did, we were able to demonstrate and show our role here showing up. You can see that the role is showing here as instructor, and that is exactly what we wanted to actually achieve, because we wanted to actually have a situation where we can show the role and then a list of the members of that particular role. So we have teacher here, we have instructor. You can see that we have instructor printed on the screen now, so we are a step closer to what we want to do. Now you can see that our column is empty, so first of all what we need to do is to add this designation text. So I'm going to go ahead in the column, first child, I'm going to make a size box just to create a little space on top. So size box of height, going to give it a height of 24. All right, and the next thing I need to do is to change this guy to text, and this text is going to have the designation. So we're going to have the designation that we have here. All right, now it's actually enforcing us to put const here, but we don't need that const because we are going to be passing a dynamic information to these very widgets. So let's just forget about that for now. So I'm going to wrap this text with padding so that we can have a little bit of spacing. So I'm going to make it edge insert.symmetric so that I can add it from the horizontal axis. So I'm going to do horizontal. I'm going to do 16. Okay. I also need to style this guy a bit. So let me just save and let's see the screen. You can see we have the designation here. So let's have that in view when we actually update. So let's add style to it. And text style of we are going to give it font size of 15, and I'm going to do font weight of 600. Save that. You see the effect. So let's again check that we're actually getting closer. So this is what we did. We did a little bit of margin from the left or padding to get an alignment. So you can see that we are closer. All right, so the next thing is for us to render the list now. So we're going to use a list view to do that. But first of all, we need to put that in an expanded because we want it to actually take the remaining part of the screen. So I'm going to do an expanded, and the child is going to be a list view. Sorry, list view. Builder. The builder. So let's push this down. Now we have our item builder is going to hold a context, and it's going to hold the index. All right, and then we're going to now build from here. So here is where we're going to retrieve our single instance of grouped stuff. So we're going to do grouped stuff. I'll call it stuff is equals to our staff, which is, so maybe I'll just make this G staff for clarity. We have a staff on top, which is the list of stuff that we have from the API, then indexed. So I want to pick the particular single staff from the list of staffs at this particular list index, right? And that being done, we're going to now return a widget. This widget is going to be the widget that we created here, which is our fixed list staff list style that takes also an instance of this. So we are going to just return this, and we pass the necessary parameters to that. The role is going to be staff gstaff.role, .role, and then we have group staff, we have gstaff dot group staff. Okay, so let's find out what the error is. All right, that's not what we wanted. It's this guy. All right, sorry. I'm gonna copy. This is the widget. I am returning a wrong thing. This is supposed to be here. All right, so let's import it. Yeah, it's not supposed to take multiple instances. It's just gonna take the staff itself. So gstaff is going to take a staff variable. So staff gstaff. All right, that solves that for us. So let's put const on the side box. Seems this guy also wants to be a const as well. Okay, so let's save and see. You can see we have some errors, but you can see that we also have this guy showing up already. You can see that we have this guy showing up. So what is making this to happen is because we did not specify the length of these very list items. So we're going to add that at least with the builder. So we're going to do item count is staff length. So let's save that again and boom, we actually have that. So when you check out again, let's go back to the UI and see if we are closer. So we have teacher, counselor, admin, instructor. If we go back to our code, our display here, you can see that we have teacher, counselor, admin, instructor, and each one has a particular type of members, right? So we have been able to actually achieve what we want, right? Uh, let's try to make it a little bit more polished by taking a look again at this. You can see that we have this icon is kind of smaller. Okay, so because of that, we need to improve on the icon by giving it a size. So how do we do that? We need to go back to the list star here and add a size to this icon size. Let's give it something like 16. Let's see if I still preview this. All right, so you can see we have a smaller icon now. And then we need to also probably update this guy. The color should probably gray out a little bit. So we need to wrap this guy with a style. So let's do style. The style is going to have text style. And we're going to give it a color of black. Let's do 54 because it has some little bit of opacity. And let's do const for this guy. Alright, so you can see we have added a little shade of color to that so that we can actually have a differentiation. I also want to update this bold to have its own style as well. So we're going to do text style, and the color is going to be just black. Colors for black. Alright, so that's what we want. So you can see we have teachers, and inside the teachers we have this. Inside our alright, so let's also see how, let's say our backend team updated their data, alright, and we don't need to make any changes in our app for that to happen. So I'm just going to update this guy to teachers, counselors, just for clarity's sake, alright. I know this is not the right thing, but just instructors, admins, just because we want to use that as a grouping, alright. So if I should rerun, I'll have to rerun for that to take effect because you have to pull the data again and pass it and then be able to give us what we want. You can see we have loading and then teachers, counselors, and everything. So I think I missed one admin here. Alright, what else are we missing here? So now you can see that we have the next polishing I need to do is to bring this guy to this place. So we'll go back to the list item. In this place, I'm going to do cross-axis alignment. So cross-axis alignment dot start. So that will bring these designations to this place. And I need to also wrap this loading with a center widget so that it doesn't stick to the top left of the screen. So I'm just going to do wrap with center, and let's reload the screen again. So you can see loading and then this happens. So that's fine, and that almost wraps up what we actually trying to do. Just a little bit of polishing to this designation. Let's add a little bit of lifting to the size because I think UI is one of the most important parts of the app. If your code works and the logic works, but it doesn't look so great, I think it's something that needs to be improved on. So let's just add, basically, I think we've done all that we needed to do. This is the same with what we have in Figma in the other screen here. All right. So that's it, guys, and that's it for this particular tutorial. And if you like this tutorial, this particular stuff that we did here can actually be applied to almost every part of your work if you are doing a mobile app development, whether you're working in fintech, edtech, or any particular scenarios. There's different scenarios where you will need to particularly group list of items to actually give the user this kind of flow, right? 90% of the time, you might actually need to group list of data without using this collapsible stuff. Probably you just want to display, let's say, list of transactions or list of posts by categories, right? Maybe you have an e-commerce product, and then you're trying to display them by categories, right? Let's say that the list is coming down with every response in a list. I need to group them by particular categories, right? So this is also a way you could actually group that. So the application of this is very vast, and that ends it for this tutorial. So if you like this video and it helps you, please don't forget to click on the subscribe button and also turn on the notification bell, because this is just the start of all that I have in series to actually drop in this PHIXLAB channel. All right, and don't forget to share, comment. If you find a better way we could actually do this, don't also forget to leave a comment. Also shoot me a DM on my Twitter handle. It's also in the description, and I will see you in the next one.